Here we are, Mike. I'm doing a test assembly of the double overhead cam head. I've got a problem with inlet valves. The tops of the stems have had to be reground, and one in particular has had to be ground that much that I can't really get sensible tappet adjustment. It's quite an interesting thing how it works. You see, we've got the T out already. There's my beautiful camshafts which have been reground. £25 each lobe to be reground, and I don't know whether I can show you them, but the cam followers which lurk down underneath there, they were something like £45 each. That's these fellas down here, these little fellas which are called sub-rockers. They're about £20 each. I had to replace a couple of those. So unfortunately I'm going to have new valves in there. I have actually located some, but they happen to be in New Zealand. Anyway, we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what happens. You can see the central plug hole in the cylinder head. There we are at last. All the valves are in. The cylinder head is safely on, and the sub-rockers are fitted. That's these devices here. They're the sub-rockers. You can see the cam chains next on the list to get the timing right. A different view of the sub-rockers. Well, that's the fiddly bit done. The main cam drive's in and the cam chain's connected, and hopefully the timing's right. Seems a bit hitty-missy, trying to line two lines up, and then when you put the tensioners on things move a little bit. There's a view on the other side of the back of the cam chain drive. There you can see my new shiny rockers are in. These operate on the sub-rocker. You can see the tappets are backed off at the moment. That's here. They're the tappets. There's my shiny rockers. They were about £40 sterling each one. So that's 4 fours of 16. Very expensive exercise. There's the exhaust cam in. Beautiful new shiny cams. That's all the cams in now. The only thing remains to be done is to take out the security bolts there. You can see them, two of them, one on each cam, which secures the halves of the pinions together, one side is spring loaded. There we are with the head on. The engine's now assembled, so I'll have a break and then tomorrow hopefully finish it off and fire it up. It's quite a handsome engine. The RFVC stands for radial 4-valve combustion, apparently. Yes, quite a handsome engine. Next thing, I'll be putting the carburetors on, which are rather interesting items. Right, here we've got the twin carburetor arrangement. Rather interesting. It's two Cayenne carburetors. They're actually solidly bolted together, and they actually operate in sequence. They operate sequentially, very similar to the old puck that I had, but this is a means of avoiding very large size choke single carb. This is the air cleaner side, but as you can see there's all sorts of bits and pieces as part of the mechanism. These are the next items to go in. There's the carburetor in. It's a very tight fit. To get the carburetor in, you've got to move the airbox backwards, which means you've got to dismantle that as well. And anyway, it's all back in now. I'm just going to have a look at the starter motor, which fits in this area. You can see the circular bits in the centre. That's where the drive sprocket from the starter motor fits in there. Here's the starter motor. Quite a dinky little item. I'm just going to check the brushes, see if everything's okay. Just as well I had a look in the starter motor. It looks as if there's a bit of corrosion got in there, so it'll have to be cleaned up. Never mind, there's always something. There we are, starter motor is now back in. I decided to change the oil filter and clean the oil strainer. The Honda has an oil strainer at the base of the crankcase. You can just see it. It's half pulled out. It's been cleaned, but it's half pulled out so you can see it. There you can see on the right is the ignition pickup point. There it is, the pickup. And there's the actual steel peg that sights on the ignition pickup. Of course, you've got the clutch, the magnificent bearing there in the centre of the clutch. Looks like a needle roller bearing in a radial format. Very neat, very nice. And I'm pleased to see there lurking, there's my cam chain with its followers neatly on, and it's nice and tight, so cam chain can't be bad. Anyway, I'm ready to put the cover back on now when I've cleaned the cover, and once I've done that I can then change the oil filter, which is in a small cavity in the outer crankcase. You can just see the back of it there. The oil filter's inside there, which you get it from the front. There you are. You can see the housing, but I'll do that after. There was a little bit of evidence of shiny bits. Obviously the state the cams were in and the cam followers and things like that. Some of the metal had to go somewhere, and hopefully the filter and the strainer has caught everything, but there doesn't seem to be anything untoward, thankfully. There you are, gentlemen. Just about finished, just the body parts to put on tomorrow. And then the day of reckoning. See if it works. It's quite a handsome thing. Well, here it is, all done and dusted. It fired up first time, which is a great relief, I must admit. Quite a complicated little animal, but not bad. Nice to work on. And I think there's something about it. It is a very nice looking bike. Beautiful shaped tank. Well, I won't be taking it on the road because the road is covered in salt and ice and what have you at the moment. But nevertheless, hopefully it's a job worth doing. There's that beautiful front mudguard. I think it's one of the nicest mudguards I've seen on a bike. So there we are, gentlemen. Mission accomplished.